notification said, "Motion detected at front door." I opened the app, expecting a delivery driver, a neighbor, maybe nothing at all. Instead, the live feed showed my own living room from an angle inside my house. I was standing in my kitchen at that exact moment. There is no camera inside my living room. I never installed one. My name is Daniel Pierce. I was 34 years old, living alone in a townhouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. 6 months earlier, I had installed a smart doorbell camera, standard setup, connected to my phone, notifications for motion, package deliveries, anyone approaching the door. It was supposed to make me feel safer. For most of those 6 months, it did exactly that. It was a Tuesday night in late October, around 9:40 p.m. I was in the kitchen making dinner when my phone buzzed. Motion detected at front door. I tapped the notification, expecting the usual exterior view of my porch. Instead, the feed showed my living room couch, my bookshelf, my television, still playing the show I had paused 20 minutes earlier. I stood in my kitchen, phone in hand, staring at a live video of a room I was not currently standing in. I checked the camera label at the top of the screen. It said, "Front door camera," but front door cameras don't face indoors. I told myself it was a glitch, a software bug. Maybe the app had crossed signals with a neighbor's camera or pulled an old cached image somehow. I closed the app and reopened it. The feed switched back to normal. My actual front porch, empty, exactly as expected. I convinced myself I had imagined the angle. Maybe I'd misread it in the dim kitchen light. I went to bed that night without thinking much more about it. The next morning, everything seemed completely normal. But 2 nights later, at almost the exact same time, the notification came again. Motion detected at front door. I opened it immediately this time, already feeling a small knot forming in my stomach. The feed showed my bedroom, my bed unmade from that morning, my closet door slightly open, exactly how I had left it. I was sitting on my couch in the living room at that exact moment. This was not a cached image. This was not a glitch. Something was live streaming from inside my bedroom. I called the company that manufactured the doorbell system the next morning, explained everything as calmly as I could. The representative checked my account, my device list, my connected cameras. "Sir, our records show you only have one camera registered to this account, the front door unit." I told her what I had seen, twice now. She went quiet for a moment, then said something that made my chest tighten. "Has anyone else had access to your home network recently?" I hadn't given anyone my Wi-Fi password in months. I lived alone, no roommates, no recent guests with access. She suggested I change my router password immediately and reset the camera completely. I did both that same afternoon. For 5 days, nothing strange happened. I started to relax. I told myself the password reset had fixed whatever the issue was, some random interference, now resolved. On the 6th night, I was lying in bed reading when my phone buzzed once more. Motion detected at front door. I almost ignored it, almost, but something made me open it. The feed showed my bedroom again, but this time the camera angle was different, lower, closer, like it was sitting somewhere near the floor, pointed directly at my bed, at me. I sat completely still, staring at my own phone screen, watching myself in real time from an angle that should not exist. I looked up from the phone, scanning my room. No visible camera anywhere. I looked back down at the screen. The image on the feed moved, not me moving. The camera itself shifted slightly, as if someone was adjusting its position from somewhere else. I dropped the phone and turned on every light in the room. Nothing. No device. No hidden lens. Nothing visible at all. I called the police that night. 2 officers came out, walked through my bedroom with a small handheld device designed to detect hidden cameras and signal frequencies. After several minutes of scanning, one of them paused near my nightstand. The device beeped steadily near a small smoke detector mounted on my ceiling. It wasn't a smoke detector at all. Inside the housing was a tiny wireless camera, professionally installed, wired into a separate hidden network entirely disconnected from my home Wi-Fi. It had its own signal, its own power source, completely independent from the system I had reset days earlier. The officer asked when I had moved into this townhouse. I told him, 8 months ago. He looked at the device again, then at me. This wasn't recently installed. The dust pattern around the housing suggests this has been here much longer than 8 months. The previous owner had lived in this townhouse for over a decade before selling it to me. Records showed his name was Gerald Ames, 58 years old at the time of the sale. He had moved out abruptly, listed the property below market value, and relocated out of state within 2 weeks. No forwarding address was ever filed with the Postal Service. The realtor who handled the sale later admitted something she hadn't mentioned during closing. Gerald had insisted on keeping a spare key for sentimental reasons, claiming he wanted to occasionally visit and see how the place was being kept. The realtor had refused, but apparently it hadn't mattered. Police searched the entire house with the detection device. They found 2 more hidden cameras, one inside a smoke detector in the hallway, one disguised as a small decorative clock in the living room, the exact view I had seen that first night. All 3 cameras connected to the same independent signal, broadcasting somewhere outside the house. Investigators traced the signal to a receiver located in a rental storage unit 12 minutes from my home. Inside that unit, they found a small monitor setup, a sleeping bag, empty food containers, and a logbook. Pages of handwritten notes, times, dates, descriptions of my daily routine. When I woke up, when I left for work, when I returned, what I watched on television, when I went to bed. Every single day for 8 months. Gerald Ames was located 3 weeks later, living in a small apartment 2 states away. When questioned by detectives about the cameras, he reportedly showed no remorse. He told them the house had been his for 11 years before the sale. He said he simply needed to keep watching it, that selling it had never meant letting go of it. He was charged with multiple counts of illegal surveillance and unauthorized access to private property. At his arraignment, he looked directly at me across the courtroom and smiled the exact same way someone smiles at something they still consider their own. I sold that townhouse 4 months later. I moved into a new apartment with no smart cameras at all. I check every smoke detector, every outlet, every decorative object that could possibly hide a lens. Every single time I move somewhere new, because I learned something that night I will never forget. Sometimes the danger isn't someone breaking into your home. Sometimes it's someone who never truly left. If you ever buy a home from someone who seems too eager to keep a spare key, change every lock and check every device that's already installed, because some people don't believe in selling a house. They only believe in watching it from somewhere else. Sleep well, and if stories like this keep you up at night, you are not alone. Subscribe for more horror stories. Every week, new story, new nightmare. See you in the dark.